You know that moment when the main character gets completely backstabbed by their friends, their squad, or even their own family, and you're just sitting there, fuming, waiting for that legendary comeback? Yeah, that's the energy we're bringing today. Nothing hits harder than a protagonist who falls hard, but rises even harder, turning their pain into raw, unstoppable power. If you love revenge arcs, insane power-ups, and main characters who don't just win but dominate, you're in the right place. This is the top 10 anime where the main character is betrayed but comes back, overpowered, and trust me, you're going to want to stick around for number 1. It's the definition of absolute destruction. Kicking off our list is Arifureta. From commonplace to world's strongest, an anime that proves the phrase, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger," is sometimes an understatement. Imagine getting summoned to another world with your classmates, thinking you're about to become a hero, only to get betrayed and left to die in the abyss of a nightmarish dungeon. That's exactly what happens to Hajime Nagumo. His so-called allies turn against him, and he's forced to survive in a place where everything is designed to kill him. But instead of dying, Hajime transforms. He adapts, evolves, and forges his own power from the depths of despair. Gone is the weak, naive student, replaced by a hardened warrior wielding god-tier weapons of his own creation. He starts dual-wielding guns, lasers, and insanely powerful artifacts that make him an absolute force of destruction. And when he finally emerges from the dungeon, oh, you better believe he's not taking orders from anyone anymore. The people who left him for dead, yeah, they're about to find out what real power looks like. Up next, the rising of the shield hero brings us Naofumi Iwatani, a guy who literally loses everything thanks to one of the most infuriating betrayals in anime history. Naofumi gets summoned to a fantasy world as one of the 4 cardinal heroes, each wielding a different legendary weapon. Sounds awesome, right? Except there's a huge problem. He's stuck with the shield, considered the weakest weapon of them all, and it only gets worse. His so-called allies set him up, framing him for a crime he didn't commit. With his reputation ruined, his allies turning against him, and the entire kingdom mocking him, Naofumi is forced to fend for himself in a world that now sees him as a villain. But here's the thing, he doesn't need their approval. He grits his teeth, adapts, and becomes stronger than anyone ever expected. With his indomitable shield, insane defensive skills, and an unwavering will to fight, Naofumi climbs his way to the top, proving that sometimes the strongest offense is an unbreakable defense. And when he finally starts getting his revenge, it's so satisfying. Record of Ragnarok throws us into a legendary battle of gods versus humanity, where the greatest warriors of all time fight for mankind's survival, and one of the most brutal betrayals in the series. Lu Bu is a warrior so powerful that even gods fear him. In life, he was the strongest warlord in Chinese history, a man who fought without fear and without equal. But when he's betrayed by his own men and executed, his legacy should have ended there. Instead, he gets one last chance, a fight in the Record of Ragnarok where he represents humanity against the gods themselves. And let me tell you, he does not hold back. With godlike strength, an unbreakable spear, and a warrior spirit that refuses to die, Lu Bu takes on literal deities like Thor and pushes them to their limits. Even when he's outmatched, he keeps getting stronger, proving that betrayal doesn't define him. His strength does. If you love dark fantasy revenge stories, Ubelblatt is an absolute must-watch. The story follows Kenzel, a hero in training who is supposed to be part of a group of warriors destined to save the world. But instead of glory, he gets backstabbed by his own comrades, framed as a traitor, and left for dead. Years later, Quenzel returns with a vengeance. Wielding a legendary black sword, he hunts down the so-called heroes who betrayed him one by one. And trust me, he doesn't just defeat them, he annihilates them. This anime is brutal, dark, and filled with non-stop action, making it one of the most satisfying revenge stories out there. You want a revenge-driven MC with insane fighting skills? Vinland Saga delivers with Thorfinn, a Viking warrior whose life is defined by betrayal. As a child, Thorfinn witnesses his father's murder, orchestrated by his own allies. From that moment on, his only goal is revenge. He trains like a madman, hones his combat skills, and becomes is one of the deadliest warriors on the battlefield. What makes Vinland Saga so amazing is how it balances epic battles with deep character development. Thorfinn's growth from a revenge-obsessed killer to a warrior with a greater purpose is one of the best arcs in anime. If you love historical epics with intense action, Vinland Saga is a must-watch. That's just the first half. If you're loving this list so far, make sure to smash that like button and let me know in the comments which of these betrayals made your blood boil the most. Stick around for the top 5 because the betrayals only get worse and the comebacks even more OP. Let's keep going. This anime takes revenge to the next level. Imagine being the greatest assassin in the world, only to be betrayed by the very organization that you gave your life to. But instead of dying in the shadows, you get reincarnated in another world, and let me tell you, the world's finest assassin isn't about to let things slide. In the world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat. The protagonist is reborn as an aristocrat in a world full of magic. Armed with his past life skills, tactical brilliance, and newly acquired magical abilities, he doesn't just blend in, he rises above everyone else, manipulating people and outsmarting even the strongest foes, from murdering entire armies with ease to taking on dangerous magical beasts. This assassin turned aristocrat is a one-man wrecking crew. His revenge isn't just sweet, it's poetic, taking out every piece of the puzzle in his calculated rise to power. When we talk about betrayal, Blade of the Immortal is in a league of its own. Imagine this. You're a samurai who's betrayed by your comrades, and instead of dying, you're cursed with immortality. Sounds like a nightmare, right? Well, for Manji, that's exactly what happened. In Blade of the Immortal, Manji is forced to live forever, hunting down evil men who need to be killed. A grim fate he has no choice but to accept. After betrayal and death, he's given a chance to redeem himself by taking down 1,000 wrongdoers. And trust me, Manji doesn't waste a second. With god-tier sword skills and a complete lack of mercy, he begins his quest for vengeance, ripping through anyone who stands in his way. It's brutal, raw, and absolutely satisfying as Manji carves a bloody path of revenge. This anime is a masterpiece for fans of dark, intense revenge stories with some of the most iconic sword fights you'll ever see. Next up is The Legend of the Legendary Heroes, and trust me, the betrayal here is off the charts. Reiner Lute is an unassuming magician with the power to change the world, but instead of being revered, his allies betray him and use him as a pawn in their own schemes. Heartbroken and alone, Reiner sets off on a journey to unlock the full potential of his power and rewrite his fate. What makes this anime stand out is Reiner's incredible magic combined with his unstoppable determination. He doesn't just want revenge, he wants to prove to everyone that he's not the pawn they thought he was. As he grows stronger, he outsmarts powerful foes, defies enemies with godlike strength, and proves that even betrayal can't stop someone with enough willpower and skill. If you're looking for an anime with strong magic and a revenge arc full of twists and turns, The Legend of the Legendary Heroes is the one to watch. Okay, I know what you're thinking. How could anything top the legendary betrayal in Berserk? If you've seen this anime, you already know why it's sitting at number 2. If you haven't, get ready to experience one of the most brutal betrayals ever in anime history. Berserk follows Guts, a warrior who's lived a tragic, painful life, but it's when his closest friend, Griffith, betrays him that everything truly unravels. Griffith's betrayal is one of the most shocking, gut-wrenching moments in anime. He sells out Guts and his entire group in a moment of selfish ambition, forcing Guts to experience unimaginable horrors. But Guts doesn't stay down. Instead, he becomes a living, breathing monster. Fueled by rage and vengeance, he wields a sword bigger than most people and tears through entire armies, all while carrying the emotional weight of his betrayal. His insane combat skills are only matched by his unbreakable will, and his growth is nothing short of legendary. Every battle Guts faces is brutally intense, and the stakes are always personal. Watching him rise from the ashes of his broken life to become an unstoppable force is pure anime gold. And here it is, the ultimate betrayal comeback, Code Geass. Let's just say Lelouch vi Britannia is the king of betrayal and the king of comebacks. In Code Geass, Lelouch is a prince, betrayed by his own family and discarded like trash. But instead of just accepting his fate, he decides to become the ruler of the world, using his genius intellect, tactical brilliance, and the power of Geass to reshape reality itself. Betrayed by his family, abandoned by those who should have supported him, Lelouch does not fold. He rises, becoming the mastermind behind a revolution that takes down entire empires. What makes Lelouch so amazing is not just his unbelievable intellect, but the emotional complexity of his journey. Every move he makes is calculated, every victory earned through sheer genius and willpower, and when Lelouch finally unleashes his master plan, it's nothing short of perfection. He redefines what it means to be OP, proving that Betrayal is just the beginning of a legendary rise to power. Code Geass is the ultimate revenge story, with the most satisfying comeback you'll ever see. And that's the top 10 anime where the main character is betrayed but comes back overpowered. Let me know in the comments which one hit you the hardest and which betrayal was the most brutal. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more anime content that gets your heart racing. Until next time, stay hyped and keep the anime energy alive.